All right, so welcome to Kuali Days 2021. This is our opening session for the student track where our focus is on elevating impact. This presentation is a session that is going to cover kind of a high-level overview of information about the conference, as well as some of the key sessions that you may want to participate in throughout the conference. The presenter for this conference is our CEO, Joel Dolin. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the opening session open to him, and he will go ahead and begin. Thank you.
Thanks, Joni. Hi, I'm Joel. Super glad to be with y'all at this Kuali Days student conference. We encourage you to use the Kuali Days 2021 hashtag in all of the socials, whichever you use, Kuali Days, Twitter, whatever. Let's have the conversation there, as well as here in these sessions. In the sessions, you'll be seeing pro tips. So if you have ideas for pro tips, we'll try to do a pro tip for every session. The pro tip here is that you can do live feedback in the conference app. So we'll talk about the conference app in a minute, but if we have the conference app, you can give us feedback during the sessions and we can have conversations there. If you have any other suggested pro tips, put them into the app and we'll try and incorporate them into the meetings. A year ago, this is not what we expected for Kuali Days. It's been a tough year for everybody. We appreciate you making the time in your busy schedules to come to Kuali Days and to do it virtually. When the foundation, when we first got engaged with the Kuali Foundation, one of their mandates and one of the things they requested that we do in starting the company was start to bring in other schools, other institutions that were not involved in Kuali from the beginning. And in 2016 at Kuali Days, you could see we had like 4, and then a few more in 17, then quite a bit more in 18. Then we didn't have Kuali Days in 2019, and then it jumped up again in 2020, and it's insane this year. And the reason for that is 2 things. Number one is because it's virtual, so it's easier for people to come. But more importantly, we just have a lot more customers. We have over 220 customers. I think it might be 235 now, customers that have come to Kuali. So we're really excited about that. I wanted to give you some kind of structure for the sessions for Kuali Days. First thing is we encourage you to download the app. Don't download the app. It's Socio is the app that we're using, but we have an app specific to our conference. So don't download the Socio app. Download the Kuali Days 2021 app. We also ask you, this is just a request. We're not demanding in any way, but some of the sessions will be webinars like this, in which case the camera is kind of irrelevant. But some of the sessions will be more like Zoom sessions, and I think it will improve the experience for others if people turn their cameras on. So if you're able to do that, we would really appreciate it. Also, to prevent background noise, please mute your microphones. And if you want to speak up, we encourage you to speak up, but just when you're not talking, please have your microphone muted. Also, when you go to the website, there's a Start Here link, and we encourage you to click the Start Here link, and it will give you some information about creating your profile. And that will really help people to collaborate and start using the app if you have your profile in there. This is a community. So our intent is that as a community that we gather, and because we're not going to be able to see each other at the coffee machine and at karaoke and wherever, let's do that in these sessions, but also in the app. We also encourage you to try to be on time to the meetings. We'll always try to start within a couple of minutes of the start time of the meeting. This picture got changed. I assume, Jody, I assume that this is, I don't know what this is, but it's an awesome picture.
Guilty, I swapped it out.
What's that?
I am guilty, I swapped it out.
I don't know what it means.
It's a presentation of asking the audience and attendees to be able to encourage them to ask questions and to love dogs.
And if you love dogs, then you love Joni, and you probably love Joni anyway. And then we have these virtual coffee virtual coffee gatherings or whatever. But the idea is that in between sessions, we've got some of these Zoom rooms that you can go into and just chat with people. And we really encourage you to do that. It's been kind of fun so far. The research track started yesterday. It's been fun for people to go in there and meet new people and be able to talk a little bit. So we encourage you to try going to those. And then please rate the sessions. It's really important to us to get your ratings so that we can know what kind of content you want in the future. So please take the time to rate the sessions. All right, that's that stuff. We have quite a number of people here who are not currently customers. So I just want to give you a quick overview of the company. Kuali is focused on amazing software for higher ed. All we do is higher ed. But we're a modern software company, and you get the community as part of it. And that's important. We're focused on these 4 key decision makers: the chief financial officer, the VP of research and their lieutenants, the registrar and the provost, and the CIO. So we're really focused, and a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us, that's what gets us up in the morning, is the fact that we're helping higher ed. And in higher ed's missions of student success, research, and community service. I mean, that's exciting to us. And it's one of the reasons we only focus on higher ed. And we recognize that in higher ed, you're being asked to be agile, to respond to changing conditions in the environment, and do more and spend less. And that's like super hard, and systems should help with that. The problem is, in the past, systems have been quite inefficient. So systems sometimes do more damage than they do good, or they're too expensive, or there's some kind of lock-in that makes it difficult to change if you ever want to change, or and so forth. So sometimes the systems are inefficient, and often vendors have in the past been difficult to work with. Whether it's pricing, whether it's vendor lock-in, whether it's not doing any enhancements, whether it's having too many bugs, whatever, vendors have in the past been a challenge to deal with. Our hope is to solve those problems and to fix those problems. And indeed, that was the intent of the original Kuali community. So Kuali started in 2004. And it was schools like Hawaii, Colorado State, Indiana, Berkeley, MIT, who got together to figure out how to do software in a different way. And they started creating their own open source software. And they did a great job for 10 years. In 2014, I had just left being the chief technology and product officer at Instructure, which is the Canvas product. And the Kuali folks called me and asked me if I'd be willing to sort of create a company that would be the new Kuali. So the idea was, let's have a company that's focused on sales and marketing and customer success and hiring modern developers who know modern development stacks and interaction designers and all the things that a company brings, but keeping the original foundation, the original community ethos. And so that's what we did. Kuali is a different kind of company, and it's resonated. We've had a lot of schools, a lot of institutions that have joined up with Kuali over the last couple of years, and it's been really exciting for us to see that growth. One of the things that resonates with people is that we're focused on user experience and a modern software development stack, but we still have a community. And the community, a lot of vendors will say this, but I don't know that any vendors do it as effectively as we do. We're very focused on modern software development practices, a great user experience, but also having a rich community. We also create modules. So for each of these decision makers, we have a number of different modules that we have created that for each of these audiences. And the ones that you care about most are the registrar and provost modules, which we'll talk about a little bit more. But we also have the build product. The build product is a no-code forms and workflow tool that can be used standalone by the CIO, by departments, but by the CIO for the enterprise, but can also be used by departments. And we have quite a few customers now. In fact, it's more often than not when a customer comes and decides to buy curriculum and catalog, they end up getting build as well to create new kinds of forms and workflows that we had never maybe even imagined. So what we'll be talking about today is curriculum and catalog management. I guess I just want to bring up syllabus management. We're not going to be talking a lot about syllabus management. We have a beta out of syllabus management. This is a tool that will allow you to manage your section level syllabi. It's not available right now. We just have a small number of design partners developing the tool. It's something that we'll be delivering this year. If it's something that you're really interested in, then contact me directly. Send me an email at joel@kuali.co, and I'd be happy to talk to you more about it. All right. So the need. Institutions in your approval processes for programs and courses and other types of experiences, those processes need to be streamlined, and we need to improve the data accuracy. So people are having to type in data in multiple places. I mean, what we need is to streamline processes to get student outcomes and not have technology get in the way. The problem is that proposals, we have to find a way to get them unstuck. Proposals get stuck, you don't know where they are. You have to retype data, you retype it several different times sometimes. A lot of times we're using PDF or Google Forms or whatever in order to get proposals for new curricula, new courses, new programs, new whatever. The way that we solved that problem is with our curriculum management product first. So we created a tool that treats curriculum as a first-class citizen in the enterprise. It allows you to define your programs, your courses, your prerequisites, your co-requisites and anti-requisites, your acceptance criteria for a program, your graduation requirements for a program. All of those rules can be baked into the approval process. And then you can create a configurable workflow in order for those approval processes, for those proposals to go through and get approvals. Once we have a bedrock of the curriculum settled, then you can automatically surface that data into a catalog. So in order for the curricular data to show up, after it's gone through an extensive workflow, all you have to do is flip a switch really to get the catalog information to show up. Then we have a tool that allows you to create content for the non-curricular information about our sporting program, about our campus, about our whatever other information, about a message from the president. That non-curricular data, you can collaborate with others and create that data, and it will also show up in the catalog. And in the future, and that leads to more time for student success and for service. And we do all this on a cloud native architecture. So we are one of the only products that is a multi-tenant. In fact, I think we're the only, there may be one other, that is a multi-tenant, fully cloud native architecture. These are just some quotes from some of our customers. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but Mike talks about how we're a collaborative partner, and that's why SNHU chose us. And that's what we like to be. We like to be a collaborative partner. That's why we have design reviews at these sessions, so that you can come and talk to our designers. Lindy talked about improving processes and making smarter curricular decisions, and just appreciates, she's just a big advocate of the product. So we appreciate, there are a lot of customers that we could put up here, and we appreciate the feedback and quotes that you've given us in the past. This is just a slide to show you that we're dedicated to new modules. So in 2016, we shipped curriculum management, 18 catalog management. Last year, we shipped build. This year, we'll be shipping syllabus management and curricular vitae management. And in 2022, we'll be shipping section scheduling. So we're trying to continue to create new modules. And I think you'll see this new modules that we're creating start to accelerate in the future. So let's do a review of 2020. These are some of the new customers that have joined us in the last year. So I don't know, clap. Like, we're super excited for those who have joined us, and most of those are in implementation right now, and we're having a great time in welcoming these new customers. Most of these customers are represented here at this session. So thank you very much for committing to Kuali, and we're excited to work with you. I want to share a little bit in the Bow Valley implementation. So we just did a case study with Bow Valley. We love doing case studies. So anytime you're willing to let us talk to you, we would love the opportunity to talk to you. In the case of Bow Valley, what we found was there was about anywhere from a 25 to a 50% reduction in the number of workflow steps, the number of emails and meetings, and the time spent tracking proposals. We did a survey, and it seems a little weird, but we asked quite a few people, and we sent out a survey, and people could fill it in and answer the questions. And to these questions, 100% said yes. The CM process is easier than it was. We're able to focus more time on student success. Proposal and approval process is faster, and Kuali CM adoption is successful. So that's been a great thing. And I just want to read these quotes. This is from Arif. We have seen incredible usage already, far surpassing our early estimates. I have to say it is a really remarkable approach to curriculum and is very unique and something that would benefit a lot of institutions. What we've seen so far has been awesome. Arif, thank you for that quote. We appreciate it. This is some data from this last year. So overall, in our system, throughout all our production environments, we had 76,000 new proposals in 2020. The average days to complete a proposal was 39. The total number of courses in our system is 311,000, and the total number of programs is almost 17,000. The total number of specializations is 6,000. The total experiences is almost 5,000 various experiences. The total agendas. Now, not everyone uses the agenda view, but for people who want either some kind of synchronous meeting, either in person or over Zoom or something, the agenda view is quite an interesting way to do that. There are 656 agendas. Okay, what this chart shows, I love this chart. We went back in the data and we looked at a school from the time they started implementing until now. So some of our schools start here and end here. Some of our schools start here and end here because they haven't been using the product very long. But we do that and we lay them all next to each other and we do an average. So again, a lot more schools have been doing this for 5 years than have been doing it for 1 year. But what this shows is along the x-axis is the number of months, and along the y-axis is the days it takes to get a proposal through the process. So what this is showing is that the number of days it takes to get a proposal done is consistently going down. So if you look at after a year, the average is somewhere around here. So that's 120-ish days. After 2 years, the average is somewhere around here. So that's more like 70 days. After 3 years, the average is somewhere around here-ish, which is more like 50 days. So you can see over time, every year, your proposals start to get done faster and faster and faster. And we think that's fantastic. We also, I just thought it would be interesting. We did we just did a survey to find out how many new, just to see curriculum management makes it easy, the process for introducing new courses and programs fairly quick. So we wanted to just put down some words that were relevant this last year. And so we put down these words and we checked how many courses and programs came up using those words. And there were over 2,000 courses that were that had these words in them this last year, in the title or the description. Most proposals in 2020, 6,365 from SNHU. That's a lot of proposals. It was a lot by quite a bit. And this data, like we picked this data this week. So we're going to actually put a little bit more. We'd like to show this data every year. So we'll spend more time making sure the data is 100% accurate. The fastest approval time average in 2020 was York, which is 6.6 days. I want to talk to York to understand how that's possible. So to have an average of 6.6 days is pretty incredible. So I want to understand why that's so low, but it's pretty crazy. All right, I'm going to give you just a really quick roadmap preview. So there are 2 roadmap sessions today. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. This is not future looking. This is past looking. So what happened this last year on the roadmap? We released a new workflow. So we basically took the code from the build tool and integrated into curriculum management so that we could have a much more robust workflow system. So we're really excited about that. Not all of you have moved to it yet, but we'll be moving all of you to it this year. So we're excited about getting people onto the new workflow with all of the new capabilities. Also, I just want to say thank you, because there are a few of you that offered to go first And going first, there are some bumps and bruises as we did it. So on the good hand, you were able to give us feedback that we built into the product, but there were also some bumps and bruises as we did it. And we just want to say thank you to the first couple that really helped us work through that. This is an example of a pretty sophisticated workflow that one of our institutions, we blurred it out so that you can't see any specifics, but pretty interesting, complicated stuff going on. Also, we shipped our global search and catalog. This is really cool. So it allows you to type a letter at a time. It narrows down the list, so it's really fast. But most importantly, the results are cross object type. So when you start typing, it will narrow things down by courses, programs, concentrations, and policies, and then you can actually filter it even further if you'd like to do that. So this is something that was heavily requested, and we were excited to get this done for everyone. Also, we have a new comment capability that we just released last week. It's either released or going to be released. I think you can turn on a feature flag, as I recall. But these comments are really, really cool. So the idea at a high level is that you have the ability, as a node in the workflow, as an approver, you have the ability to add people to your approval step, and they can actually edit the proposal and they can leave comments, and then you can have a discussion about the approval. So we're really excited. It's something excited about it. Something we wanted to do back in the early days. I remember sitting with Rod and with others in order to plan what we wanted to do, and commenting on proposals was a really important thing. And we got that done, and we're really excited to roll it out. Okay, session reviews. By the way, reminder, if you have questions, please bring them up and we'll cover them at the end. But if you put them in now, we'll have them queued up and ready to go, and Joni will ask them. Session review. So this was yesterday. We had a couple of pre-conference training sessions. I won't spend a ton of time on that. On Tuesday, today, this is the opening session. We'll have 2 roadmap sessions with Sarah, our product manager, who is also the product manager for Build now. So we have one product manager responsible for all of the student products, and then Hannah works for Sarah, working on the student products. And then Sarah is also responsible for the Build product as well. And then we have an online user community at 4:45. And then tonight is a Let's Get Social trivia event. It's 1 hour. If you'd like to join us, it's going to be really fun. Tomorrow, best practices for a transformative implementation. Let me just pull out a couple of these. Arizona State University is doing a session at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. That's Katie Ord. She's a senior curriculum coordinator. And then there's an open discussion right here. Open discussion is hosted by Susan Dennis from Boise State University. We encourage you to go to that. And then Let's Get Social, there's a cooking class, and there's a little bit of prep for the cooking class. Danny is teaching us how to cook gnocchi, and there's a limited number of slots that are close to, they've either all been filled or they're close to being filled. So if you'd like to come to that, sign up for it right away. And you'll need some time to prep and go get the materials. One thing I forgot to mention is when you download the app or go to the app online, please mark the sessions you're going to go to so that we have an idea of the number of people that will be attending. That would be very helpful for us. And then Thursday, a couple things to point out. James Wigington, manager of curriculum and calendar from University of Victoria, is doing a really interesting, full of data session at 2:45. So that will be really interesting. And then Mike O'Connor from Southern New Hampshire, Southern New Hampshire University is doing an open discussion at 3:15 Mountain Time. And then that evening, 4:15, we'll be doing code words. So if you've never played code words, it's really fun, and it's super fun to play online. So I'm going to be at both those game nights, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all there if any of you are able to make it. There's no limit to the people that can come Tuesday or Thursday to the social events. There's only a limit to the cooking session on Wednesday. And then Friday, I'm really excited to be able to talk about dashboard reporting and insights. And also you'll be able to elevate your impact with our Kuali products by going to the Kuali Build session, understanding more about curriculum management, how that works together with Build. I think that'll be a really interesting session. One last thing, in 2 weeks, there's a full Kuali Build Kuali Days. So if you're interested in learning more about Kuali Build, or if you want your IT people or people from other departments to learn more about Kuali Build, we encourage you to come to that session in 2 weeks. User community, we had a great kickoff session with the user community last month. We'll have another one in March. Colleen will be running that. So we hope that you're able to get engaged in the user community stuff. And then Tuesday, February 20, today at 4:45, we have that session. Whew. All right. So let's talk for just a couple of minutes about Kuali Build. So think of Kuali Build. If you've been using curriculum management and you've ever thought, I just wish they'd give me the forms tool. Right now, our forms tool in curriculum management, you can do more damage than you can good because it wasn't meant for customers. And it's not, it's kind of ugly and it doesn't work well. Our people can use it because they're trained in using it, but it's not something that we want to, that we can give to customers because it's not a good experience and it's easy to mess yourself up. That's what Kuali Build is for. So we've created a forms tool and a workflow, notifications, and integrations tool that you can do it yourself. So it's really easy to use. It makes it, it's very powerful to create forms and workflows, notifications and integrations, and you're in control. You can do it all yourself. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on slides, but I am going to demo the product really quickly. So this is the product. You have an action list, and in the action list, there's just, these are a list of the things that are waiting for my approval. You also have a set of apps. So an app is simply a form and a workflow that are joined together. So you have the ability to create a new app. So I'm going to show you one that's already created. This is a program change request. And if there were any documents in here, if anyone had filled out this, I would see a list of all of them here. But there aren't any in there right now. There's just a form. So this form, I have the ability to take these gadgets right here, we call them gadgets, and drop them onto the form. So let's say that I wanted to add a signature to a form. I could just drag it over here and notice it will show me where I might be able to drag it. I'm going to put it at the bottom here. And I'm going to call this signature, or signature. And then I could put some descriptive text or whatever if I wanted to. What else is on this program change request form? Well, this field actually pulls my name. So when I log in, it gets my name automatically. And then I've added an advisor field. Because Nancy logged in, it automatically pulls Nancy's advisor and puts it right here. And it automatically knows Nancy's email, so it puts Nancy's email right here. Then I put the ability to pick her program. Let's say she had a dual major or whatever, or you could just make it automatic. It will pull her program automatically and put it right here. And then there's a requested program. So I've integrated this with a service, the curriculum management service, so that it will pull all of the potential programs that she could sign up for and put them in a searchable box right here. And then automatically, when I search that box, it will put in the department based on which program I select. And then she can put a reason for a change. And all of these are fields that I dragged from over here. So let me show you what a preview looks like. So here's the preview, pulled Nancy's name, her advisor. She chose chemistry. And then let's say she wants to move to history. So she starts typing history and she selects history, and then the history department comes up automatically because the history major is in the history department. I could say the reason for change, because I said so, you fool. And then I want to sign the form. I could either type in my name, or I could draw my signature if I wanted to, or I could upload an image. Now, of course, you don't have to use the signature, and we're trying to get people away from using signatures. You've typed in your name. We have the date that you did it. That should be enough. But in some cases, people need some kind of signature, and so we added this capability. And then once I'm done, I could submit this, and then it will go through a workflow. And this is what the workflow looks like. And you have the ability to design the form. You also have the ability to design the workflow. So here's the program, here's the form submission. The first thing that happens is there's a notification to a person specified on the form, the submitter. So I selected to send something to the submitter. And in the email, it will say in the subject, your request to change to, and then a variable, the requested program. So it will say history, was received. And in the body, dear, insert person's name, your request to change to history was received. So that's that first notification step. And all it does is send them an email. The next step is an advisor approval. So the advisor is we're going to send it automatically to the advisor that was listed on the form. And remember, we got that from the student information system where the advisor was listed attached to the student name. What happens if it gets denied? Right now, we're going to do nothing. But if you wanted to have some sophisticated workflow in the event that it gets denied, you could do that. And then once this person approves it, it moves to the next. And we branch there. We say, look, if you're all departments except for history, first you're going to send it to the department chair. And it will look what department they're in, the history's in, and then it will forward to the person who is listed as the department chair for that particular department. And then the same thing, the next step would be the college dean. And then after that, we send another approval step. All this does, this is a notification step. It sends an email back to the requester, congratulations, this got approved, whatever. And then we do an integration step, and the integration step is where we take the data and we put it back into the student information system. If you're the history department, we just do it a little bit differently. If it's the history department, we always send it to Myra. So we specifically put Myra's name. This route will run when all of the following are true. The requested program is history, and you could add more routes if you wanted to be able to do that. Okay, that's plenty of time. I want to show you one other quick thing. This is something that's actually useful, and some of you are going to jump for joy in your chair that we've done this. This is using what's called advanced integrations, and this is something that is not released yet, but it's working right now, and we're trying to figure out how, when we're going to release it. But this basically allows you to send the change of subject codes in CM through an approval process. So in this one, they can choose update or create. If they're going to update, then we automatically show them their current subject code, and then we let them type in their new subject code. And then we automatically forget this stuff. I just added this stuff later, so ignore that. It was for a different demo. In fact, I'll just delete it. Okay, so now let's preview this. If I'm going to create a new subject code, I just go create the subject code, and I'm going to create the subject code. This is a subject code. And I'm going to submit it. Okay. Now, if I want to update subject codes, this now shows up. We're using progressive disclosure. And again, you'd have the ability to create that yourself. And then you can actually pull in the subject code here and change it. So let's change, whichever one. And then you could put in the new subject code. So this is something that's using what we call advanced integrations. It would have a workflow, and in the workflow, it would say, if they're creating if they're creating a change subject code, do this advanced integration. If they're doing a create new subject code, do this integration. And then you could have a whole approval process here. Department chair, whomever needs to approve. The advanced integration looks like this. So for the create new, so instead of writing code, you would just drag objects onto a form. So some of you are going to think, oh, whatever. But IT focused people love this because you don't have to write any code. There's no scripting used. This is basically pulling data out of curriculum management, unpacking it, putting it into an API post, and putting it back into the workflow. So that's an integration to create a subject code in curriculum management. Now, anywhere on my form where I want to create a new subject code in curriculum management, on any of my forms and build, I can drag that gadget and create subject codes. And this one is for change subject codes. Anytime I want to update a subject code, I can use this short little box of a bunch of boxes, and there's no hidden code here. It's just all this stuff right here. I have the ability to really quickly update subject codes, and now that shows up in a gadget on our form and in our workflow. So I'm sorry if that was too complicated and technical, but it's pretty exciting for some of you. So I wanted to at least share it and let you know its capability that we're working on. There's a possibility to beta test this. If you're a Build customer, you'd need to talk to me about it, and we can talk about it. But it's something that's coming, and we'll be doing more and more of the integration between different systems with Build. And then in summary, the way to think about these two different products is curriculum management is for purpose-built curricular forms. That's what curriculum management, courses, programs, minors and things like that, specific experiences. That's what curriculum management is for. Kuali Build is for general purpose, no code forms and workflow where you configure it yourself, where you don't need to rely on us for any kind of best practice built into the product itself. You just want to configure whatever you want. That's what Kuali Build is for. If you're interested in Build, we're giving away a free app. So what that means is, we did this contest last year, a couple of years ago. If you have an idea, you can scan this QR code. If you have an idea for a Build form that we should build, submit your idea, and the best idea we'll choose, and we will build that app for you, and you can use it for free. So we encourage you to do that. Scan the QR code, give us our ideas. We had some really good ideas last time, and we'll go build one of them and let you use it for free. Finally, we invite you to rate this session in Socio. So click rate now at the top of your session screen. Please rate it and let us know how we can be better. And we just really appreciate you. So we're going to take a minute and answer any questions. So Joni, I think I'm going to rely on you to ask questions that might have come up.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the questions that we have is, what are some examples of the forms you might utilize in Kuali Build? So I've listed a few of those forms in the chat, such as academic appeal, a declaration of intent for a dual degree program, a pass-fail option, undergrad overload request, program change request, or maybe a change of address. You can easily Google, the forms, or look at the forms that you have on your registrar's website or your provost website, and look into those forms and see if those would be a good option. Oftentimes, those are good opportunities to move those types of forms into Kuali Build, and these are generally student-facing forms, as well as faculty-facing forms, or really any end user that would need to fill out the forms. We have an additional question about the related topic. So is it the student who fills out the form to start? And I'll let Joel continue, but the answer is yes, and Joel can give a high level about the student filling out the form.
Yeah, so you could do it however you want, actually. In this particular case, it's the student that's filling it out. So the student would log in, and you could either make it anonymous, and by anonymous, it means they have to type in their name. It's not authenticated. Or you could make it authenticated. So they could type in their student ID and password, or if they're already authenticated, then we could do single sign-on, and it would authenticate the student. The other option is you could have an advisor fill it out on behalf of a student, and you can choose what to do. Paul says you could use this form builder for letter of permission. Totally. What a lot of people are using it for is come back to campus safely. So we probably had 5 customers that created some kind of COVID related form last year for, you got to come back to campus. You either need to prove that you've had a vaccination, or you need to prove that you don't have a temper, or authentic, say I have been to a doctor, or I've had a test, or I don't have a fever, whatever are the information you want to put on a form. People wanted to really quickly get those forms out, and they didn't want to wait for IT. So they just created the forms here. They had one place to see all the submissions, and they had a workflow process to either notify people or get approvals.
And we had another question come through with the Q&A about the different options with Kuali Build. So we mentioned it as being a registrar, or a provost or admissions department or office app, but there are different licensing options. So I'll let Joel speak to those, but we do have enterprise license, as well as a department license and a 10 application license available.
Yeah, so the way the licensing works is you can either just buy 10 forms / workflows, and that ends up being enough for many people. They might have 20 that they're working on. We don't control how many you can be working on at a time, but in order to put them into production, if starting off with 10 is easy. So you start with 10, it costs $10,000 for 10 forms, or $20,000 for 20 forms. Or you can buy a department license, and depending on the size of your department, what that allows you to do is that anyone in your department can create forms, but anyone can use the forms. So they could be anonymous, they could be the entire student population, the entire faculty population. There's no limit to the people that can use the form, but you have a limit to the only people that can design it are people in your department. Or you can get an enterprise license. An enterprise license lets anyone in the entire enterprise create forms, and then again, anyone can use those forms. So there's a question from Kara that says, is the idea for Kuali Build to eventually take over Kuali student curriculum management? No, but more and more of the functionality will be in both. So you'll see more and more functionality that, just like you see the workflow, it's the same workflow in Kuali curriculum management that you have in Kuali Build now, or very similar. More and more will start to share technology across the different ones. The way I would think about the difference is that Kuali curriculum management is very focused on curricular data, whereas Kuali Build is meant to just build, whatever kind of thing that you want.
And to be cognizant of time, we just had one more question in the chat, which was about whether data that's collected in the form can be reported on. And the answer to that is yes. Any of the data that you collect within the forms, whether it's curriculum management or build, you'll be able to generate some really quick and easy reports related. And that's both for the end user on the curriculum management side and the admin as well. Because we're at the end time for the session, I'll turn it back to Joel for a quick closing. But before I do, I'll just mention that we do have a virtual coffee house session that begins or that's starting right about now. So if you feel like joining and connecting during the quick 15-minute break, please feel free to join. And then that will be followed by a session beginning with a curriculum management product roadmap and overview session. So we invite you to continue joining and engage with us in the app if you have any questions. We want to make the conference as useful and as helpful for everyone as possible. So Joel, if you want to give a quick close.
You bet. I'm really excited that y'all are here. I showed you a little bit of Build. The reason I showed you Build is because you're going to be getting lots of curriculum management and catalog throughout all the sessions this week. But there's really only one session for Build. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a sneak peek. I look forward to seeing you in the sessions. I'm going to try to come to as many of the coffee breaks as I can. If you have any questions, there's a lot of great stuff that has happened in CM and catalog and that will be happening this year. So I'm excited to hear your feedback on it. Thanks everyone. Appreciate you.